W's and L's, the weekly recap show where we give a dub to the things that we do like and an L to the things that we don't. If I remember correctly, I think you went first last time. Sure. So I'm going to go first.
Okay.
Let's start off with the dubs. I'm going to go ahead, and this is probably going to spur a little bit of a conversation, and it's a little bit old, to be honest. I'm going to give a dub to Beyoncé. Beyoncé went ahead and dropped her single from her album coming out, giving a little bit of a house party vibe, which is interesting because none other than Drake decided to drop a house party not too long ago.
We do. Are we gonna? You know what? I don't have no more room on my L's list, but go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
We haven't talked about it. It's been a minute. So Drake dropped a dud, an absolute dud. There's maybe 2 songs on there that I like at all.
One.
Jimmy Cooks.
Jimmy Cooks. The only thing on that album worth listening to. Who told this nigga we wanted a Views Part 2, but like a lesser Views? Like, every fucking song sounded the same. Who told you we wanted that?
I wanted to respect them because it's like, okay, cool. You took a risk. It's respectable. But boy, did you miss. I mean, like Paul George on the side of the backboard.
He Charlie Brown this joint. Because first of all, Drake, who told you that you can carry an album vocally? I blame his fans.
Oh, it's definitely his fans.
I blame y'all. You know why? First of all, the way that people hyped this album or tried to make excuses for it was absolutely shameful. The excuses. Drake just tried to give us a dance album and everybody tripping. It's bad. It's bad. I don't want to dance to it. I don't want to smoke to it. I don't want it to put me to sleep at night. It's not good. Stop it. Get some help.
Stop it. Get some help.
I swear to God, this is the make excuses for my idol generation. We are.
Oh, yeah.
I have to admit that. Like, millennials are absolutely the make excuses for my idol generation. An army of fans willing to defend anything this man does. He could have put shit in a brown paper bag and sent it to you. And you would have been like, oh, this shit fire.
Oh, Drake don't miss. Oh, like
straight onion and ketchup fart in the bag, and you like, hey.
The boy don't miss. Oh, shut up.
It was so bad. It was so bad. I'm just sitting here listening to this shit like, I'm like, I think I'm gonna get about 90% through this album. And you know what even pisses me off even more about Jimmy Cooks? Why did you switch the beat for 21? Why you ain't just let him rock out on the actual beat that like 21 can't have nice things? He's literally putting the only pleasurable thing that's on your album, but you gotta take, and then had the nerve to when he came back onto the verse to switch it back.
Yep.
I was like, fam, why you ain't just let him go on the one you was on?
Because he wanted a sicko mode moment. That's all it was. But props to Queen Beyonce for showing Drake how it's done, right? Like, I'm not a house party nigga, but for what it's worth, it sounded good. It sounded decent. It didn't sound like some of the shit that I heard on the Drake album.
Niggas know damn well every time the Drake shit come on in the club, they go into the bathroom and to the bar. And when the Beyonce shit come on, you gonna be trying to get up on a female. But, oh shit, like you said, the boy don't miss. The boy don't miss.
I'm going to give a dub to Ice Cube. Interestingly enough, another rapper has gone to make a deal with the NFL. Only this time, there actually seems to be some sort of substance behind it. So Ice Cube has coordinated a deal between his contract with Black America Initiative and obviously the NFL to what seems like fund $100 million, which is actually a number, unlike the Jay-Z situation, that seems to be going towards Black entrepreneurs and Black businesses. I actually have a quote here from the press release that they sent out. The collaboration focuses on identifying league-wide opportunities in the financial, tech, and production sectors with a concentration on increasing direct and indirect spend to national Black businesses to help close America's racial and economic wealth gap. The reason I'm giving it a dub is because when Jay-Z made a deal, it was super duper 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 vague.
It was okay. I think we're beyond kneeling. I think we're over that. I think we're moving on to more productive things like filling my wallet.
It was just like, okay, so we got your halftime shit. You're going to stuff your pockets with as much of this shit as you can. And then out of it, we really didn't get anything besides end racism in the end zone and maybe a couple commercials.
All of the acts in the halftime show haven't even been black.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the language being so vague in the first contract was the death of it right away. Whereas, at least with this one, I can understand where it's going and I understand what it's attempting to do at the very least.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. So there's a objective, and there is a proposal as to how to reach that objective, at least in collaboration with the NFL. That's pretty straightforward, and I think Ice Cube has been pretty straightforward about who he's willing to work with to push this agenda. He doesn't really have a political affiliation or necessarily any type of loyalties to any anywhere on the political spectrum. I don't believe. I mean, at least he hasn't tipped his hand that way. I don't think sending this to Trump disqualifies him from being independent, because he tried to send it to all of the presidential candidates, mainly Biden, before he sent it to Trump. What does this amount to in terms of the NFL? Not much. That's just my opinion, man. I don't. Not much. It will find a way to put that $100 million into the hands or black adjacent hands of people who are like-minded. For some reason, we have not broken the idea of making rich black people richer, or making rich black people in general helps the whole. Making wealthy black individuals somehow makes the whole. Now, if you're telling me you're going to find a way to utilize black small businesses in collaboration with the NFL, oh, well then, yeah, no, that's great. That's great. If you're just going to find some black CFO and have him bring in his corporation, since there's a black guy at the head of it pushing the deal, then it's black business or black adjacent. I love the caveat that they added in there. Like, it's not just black businesses, but indirectly working its way back to the black business. Love the caveat, because there's no way that can be Trojan horsed, right? I just haven't put much faith into the NFL using its money to help black people in any material way, let alone closing the racial wealth gap.
I'm definitely not looking at this as the catalyst to get me to start watching the NFL again, right? They have way too many wrongs to right still. And again, there is some vagueness in this deal as well. So it's not perfect, but at the very least, it's something, right? And it's something that I'm going to have to probably keep a close eye on to see what comes of it, because as of right now, at least the way it's worded, it's at least better than what they did with Jay-Z.
Ice Cube has an agenda, and he has a plan. You know exactly what it is he's trying to get to. And I don't think the NFL is the only partner he's looking for to try to do this. So good on him. Yeah. Good on him. Like, it's the closest thing that I can see currently to any black people using this much of their influence for black issues.
I'm going to give an L to R. Kelly because he deserves it. 30 fucking years.
Boy, got that 30 on him.
Oof, got that Steph Curry time on his back. So, hey, dog. See you when we see you, I guess. Good riddance. Yeah.
Why would you hog tie, Robert? Why? I
don't know how to hog tie people. What would I hog tie?
It's a good question. He'll be pondering on that for 30 fucking years.
It's on me?
On you.
I've been gone for a couple of weeks, man. I've just been stockpiling shit that I wanted to talk about. You know what? I'm going to get through the negative so we can finish out positive. First L I got up on my list is the Rogue Supreme Court. No surprise, got a lot of news to go through here with these guys. Starting out with the overturning of Roe v. Wade, but it's not the only one, right? They had the stripping of EPA protections. They kind of took the teeth away from what the EPA is actually able to do to companies or cities that fall short of their emission mandates. Funny thing, like 70% of cities last year did not pass their emission targets. So an already weak organization got even weaker. Oh, I think they're working on a gerrymandering case right now on what Republicans are able to do in terms of drawing redistricting and drawing district lines and things like that. And that's very important because then they're essentially able to draw the maps in a way that now they don't even have to pretend the little bit that they do pretend that they give a damn about, Black, Asian, Latino, women, LGBTQ, anything that's not Anglo-Saxon white male. The complete lack of leadership is what I would describe it as in the Democratic Party. Like there isn't a single leader in the room, and it shows. They're all feeding themselves. They all do exactly what they need to do to keep their monicum of power so that they can keep cashing checks. But there's not a leader. There's not a leader in there. I can say there are far more leaders in the Republican Party than there are in the Democratic Party. Now, not leaders for anything good or positive, but they galvanize and they pick a goal and they work towards achieving that goal. There's no one doing that on the Democratic side. They were running around chasing their tails and stuffing their pocketbooks as they're on their way out, honestly.
I think that's been made evident by the fact that Obama got rushed out before he can get another justice in, but meanwhile, Trump got to get another justice in before he left.
Not even just that. Think about the fact that the Roe v. Wade has been on the books since the case happened in the 70s? How many Democratic regimes have we gone through in between when Roe v. Wade was decided on the Supreme Court and now? And no one, not a single administration, has taken the initiative to codify it into law, to make abortions a right. If you wanted it, how many opportunities do you need to codify it? You give Republicans one swing, they take it. They take it. They don't waste any time. You've been so addicted to civility and getting back to normal. Your normal is about to be fucked. You want to know why Democrats didn't break their backs to try and make sure that abortion stayed legal in America? Right after Roe v. Wade was passed, Trump held a rally where I don't even know where she was from, but she was a senator somewhere introducing Trump. And in her speech, she thanks Trump for getting the Supreme Justices in place so that we can overturn abortion and save white life. This isn't a foreign concept. We've talked about it multiple times on this show here. Hell, Charlemagne the damn God opened up his mouth and said something about it. And the truth of the matter is that the white birth rate has been going down for the last several decades, for the longest time, since abortion became a thing.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy that a system designed to devour the most undesirable in this country ends up working the most against its own creator? Ain't that a bitch?
Yeah, I think I seen as far as abortion rates out of the people who get abortions, 38% are Black, 33% are white. So it's like neck and neck almost.
Not having as many babies as well. So they get abortions at similar rates, but they are not having children as much as the other races. Also, if you add into that all of the other hurdles that are added to having a baby in this country, the cost of living, the salaries of the potential people who are meant to raise these children, the decrease in the mortality rate of having a child born in the States, especially if you're Black, but in general for everyone, right? But those are all the things that have billion-dollar industries to create those problems, and we're not going to do away with any of that. So the quickest way to stem this tide and to stop our numbers from slipping and eventually drift off into extinction, at least, you know, we're probably talking about at least 100 years for any of that is a reality, but within the next 25 to be a majority brown country, let's just be done with abortion. So tell me why, through the multiple democratic regimes in between 1970 whatever, when Roe v. Wade was decided, and now in 2022, while any of those any of these administrations who claim to be pro-choice, who claim to fight for women's rights, who claim to fight for reproductive rights, who claim to fight for any level of bodily autonomy, why didn't they take the step in the 50 plus years that they had to do it to put abortion into federal law? Well, if the idea is to save the white people by getting rid of abortion, Democrats are white too. Surprise, surprise, the white folks didn't do anything to make the thing that's making them go extinct permanent. Surprise. I mean, they are literally telling you out of their mouths now. They're not even hiding it. We are doing this to stem the tide of our racial losses in this country. We want to remain in control. We want to remain the majority. And we will go as far as to put people into medical jeopardy, because people aren't going to stop getting abortions. The poor people are just going to get it done in an alley. The rich people will get it done before the abortion opens. But we have to stop all the poor folk who are actually having all the babies from killing them, not by way of giving them more resources or higher salaries or more homes to buy or anything like that, or clearing out food deserts. No. We're just going to stop you from being able to have control over your body and whether or not you choose to have a baby. I am very scared about what's going on with the Supreme Court, man, because they're rolling. I mean, they are rolling, and by the time we get we get a chance to expand the court, or or anything like that, this country is going to look a lot differently socially. It'll have a country reflects its laws usually, and a very liberal swing had America looking like, a new melting pot for many generations in this country. More conservative rule for an extended period of time can start to change that social dynamic. So I don't expect by the next time we have a Democratic Supreme Court for this country to look anything the way that it looks now. Next L, Texas schools. The schools in Texas are looking to rename slavery. You probably heard me say it a couple of times already in our videos this week, to involuntary relocation. So we already know that they had the whole critical race theory fight going on in Texas, with them trying to rewrite America's deeply rooted racist history. But now we're starting to see some of the effects of that and how they're attempting to rewrite it, some of the verbiage that they're using. Involuntary relocation. You know what that sounds like? It sounds like a fucking natural disaster. Involuntary just means you left for reasons unforeseen. It means you left for reasons that were out of your control. That's what involuntary relocation means to me. Where in there between slavery and relocation does the dehumanizing factor come into it? Does the erasure of history? Does the
destroying of black families,
the commodification of a human being to the point that you considered losing 40% of your haul on the trek from Africa back to American shores an acceptable loss? When you do crops, when you herd crops, you lose a certain percent of it. Some of it is already, spoiled by the time that you pick it, or you know, damaged in your harvesting or lost to animals or what have you. That's how they treated black people. Losing 40% of your cargo on your trek back to the Americas was acceptable. Another strong argument for reparations in this country, because we have millions upon millions that didn't even make it to this country. But I digress. That's not what this conversation is about. Just more erasure of America's racial history in this country, and it's sick that people are even going along with this. How do you make a straight face and call slavery involuntary relocation? Like that's putting it mildly. It's not saying it's calling a 10-car pileup a fender bender. Like it's an oxymoron. It's like jumbo shrimp.
Putting it mildly is the point.
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And it's building a anxiety and depression in our people, because this is the life that they unfortunately have to deal with.
And you have no escape from it, because now even when I turn the fucking TV on to get away from my reality, I have to see my reality on TV. Let's see here. NBA draft Twitter is getting an L for me. So this is one of the things I caught up on when I was on vacation, and that I automatically knew I was going to start this and bring it up. So I know you saw the video montage of the first round of the NBA draft, where they were coming out and there was a whole bunch of black dads with a whole bunch of white moms and a whole bunch of beige babies, right? And so I saw a lot, you know. Oh, the NBA draft looks very beige, and you know, and that's some of the lighter stuff, right? But then we got to some of the more serious takes, and I'm seeing stuff like dark-skinned black men are disappearing, and the erasure of black men is being done by black men. And you begin to look at, you know, you do what you do, right? You see something critical, something that you don't agree with, and what do? You start looking at the person. You start looking at the demographics that are saying these things. And I just found it very interesting. It kind of goes along with what we were talking about just prior with black men and their representation. And so this one speaks a little bit more to heterosexual black men specifically, because it seems more and more now that the onus, the responsibility, the blame for anything negative that is coming out of our community has been laid at the feet of black men. And I feel like at times that's fair, but most of the times it's extremely unfair and extremely limited in thought. To suggest that black men, straight black men, right? And there's a reason why I'm making that distinction, because of what's being asserted by saying that it's black men erasing black people because of their dating black women. I quote this stat to y'all all the time. Over 80% of black men who are married to black women. It is a fallacy to say that black men have foregone their relationship to black women, have thrown them to the side for other races. That is the idea that was instilled by people outside of our community, and is continued to be propagated by people within our community now, because we soak up things about us from not us so easily, and it pisses me off. But when we're talking about black men and their responsibility in terms of interracial dating and what that means for the race as a whole, right? So if I'm to follow the logic right, black men, specifically black athletes, date white women, end up having light-skinned babies, and i.e. is the erasure of the dark-skinned black man. Or just black babies in general, because now we're having a bunch of, you know, mixed-race children, right? That's the logic. Okay. What does a black Hollywood starlet and her millionaire white husband do for black children? What about a black woman athlete who has a rich white husband? What does that do for the perpetuation of black people? Following the logic that you just gave for straight black men dating white women. Let me take it another level. For my gay black men, what does your sexual orientation, your preference, what you choose to do with your life, which is 100% your right to do, a right that I will fight for. But what does that right do, following the same logic that you just gave about black men? What is your lifestyle do for perpetuating black life? Following the logic that y'all going on, we gonna all be fighting and pointing the finger at each other for erasing black people as we erase black people together. Fighting and pointing the finger over stupid shit. Over dumb, nonsensical ideas and narratives that are not supported by any fact or statistic. Black people do not have problems reproducing or dating other black people. We stay together just as much, if not more, than other races. But you see NBA dads with white women and you think, oh man, look at all these black men. They don't even date black women anymore. Because you saw 10 fathers at the NBA draft. Because you saw the 10 or 15 best high school and semi-pro basketball prospects in all of the world. That's representative of your entire community. Enough for you to point out the erasure of black people and lay it at the feet of the black men, the few black men, by the way, who choose to marry white women. You see how easy it is for people to get in your shit? I gotta sit up here and listen to y'all talk about how much Jack Harlow is a protector to you. And then they ask him who his ideal women was, and he names 3 Hispanic women. Like who his crush is. He names 3 Hispanic women. Names the mom from George Lopez, Selma Hayek, and somebody else. TikTok mom.
Look, y'all. Every fucking day my baby daddy come here with one fucking meal for my child. But I have 3 other kids. We have 1 kid together, but he only want to come and bring 1 thing to McDonald's. But what about my other kids? How come you can't feed my other kids McDonald's though? Like that's bogus as hell. Like you're not finna sit here and make my other kids feel left out, and you're only bringing 1 child something to eat. Look, there he go, and I bet you he only got 1 thing in there. I bet you he don't even. I'm finna expose out of him.
Let's set the stage here. So, ladies, let's talk to the women here. Let's talk to the women for a second. Imagine you have 4 children, and one of your 4 children's father brings him lunch every day. Brings him McDonald's. Now, you and that child's father used to be together, and at some point, he probably used to buy all the kids McDonald's because he was with you, and you had 4 kids. And so he could not buy his child something without buying the other kids because he was still with you. He's still in a relationship with you. So that relationship is done. And now he continues to look after his own child because those other kids have fathers. What petty level do you have to be on to not allow your son to have the food because the other kids aren't getting fed, apparently?
Not only stopping him before he gives the McDonald's to the kid, putting the father on blast for something that's not even wrong, and then throwing away the McDonald's before he even got a chance to give it to the child.
Absolute trash bucket. Absolute trash bucket. Fucking skeezer is exactly what you are. I done been around some black moms, obviously, right? They make do. They make do. And the last fucking thing that they're doing, at least if they have some fucking sense, is throwing away food from their child because the other one's daddies didn't come and bring them McDonald's that day, so why should he get it? Or why you can't buy food for my other children? See, this is something that I feel like affects men and women equally, is the sense of entitlement. It doesn't even compute to me how someone would expect to have their children catered for outside of relationship. Now, if y'all still doing whatever everybody says, kid, cool. But if y'all not in a relationship no more, to expect it, that's I can never get to that level mentally. Then also, why turn the responsibility of feeding your children onto that father specifically? You know why? Because you know he got it to do it. Which now turns this whole thing into a manipulative kind of thing. Because now you are trying to use his child as a Trojan horse to get the rest of your child's fed. And I would never be on the internet admitting to everybody that I couldn't buy my kids McDonald's. That's embarrassing. And the fact that you don't know that that's more embarrassing on you. At least he got the money to buy McDonald's for his kid and all your kids. You clearly do not.
She even mentioned like not having her food stamps until like later that week or whatever.
Like somebody need to call CPS on you because you are dogging one of your children's father because he don't have enough money to help you feed the rest of your kids. I couldn't take that, man, because I've seen that play out in so many different scenarios where it just becomes a tit for tat, a very, oh, well, you're not going to be with me no more. Well, I'm just going to make your life hell because you have to keep dealing with me because of this child. And it's just like, the women like that will come up with the damnedest reasons to try and make you fight with them. And at some points, it's truly unavoidable because I came to feed my child. You threw the shit on the ground. What type of fucking demon time are you on?
And at that point, you're literally objectifying your kids because A, you're not feeding them, but B, you're using them as like a bargaining chip. You're using them as leverage. They're not even your children. They're your bargaining chip to do whatever you need to do, manipulate your relationship with this person.
Screw TikTok, mom. And then last L I got is going out to Hip Hop Thor. I know I'm late to the party on the Miles Morales alternate universe thing where he is Thor. It was also a thing that happened while we were on vacation. Let me just say very quickly that the fact that it is 2022 and we are getting like 1950s minstrel show level racism out of Marvel should let you know 1950s level racism out of Marvel that was cleared by an editor, by the way. Again, I keep bringing this to you. These writers do not write this shit and post it themselves. This got okayed by anybody who had any type of decision-making power over releasing comics. They okayed this to go to print. You should not have to have a black person in the room not to be this racist. By Odin's fade, all eyes on me. We supposed to be in Asgard and we got fucking shoes hanging from the electrical lines. You should not need a black person in the room not to be that level of racist. And yet, here we are, Miles Morales Thor. I understand that people love Disney, they love Marvel, they love the content, and it's fun to be cultish about something sometimes. I understand it. But for black people, and this goes for any company, at some point it has to be more important that you see yourself the same way everyone else sees themselves. More than just having a black face there. More than just having popular content that everybody else is watching and now they have a black character so you can feel like you're part of it. It's more than that, man. It's more than that. A couple dubs. Got two. First one is going out to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Best vacation I've been on ever. Best vacation, man. That was perfect honeymoon, man. We were there for 8 days. Got to spend a little time in a lot of different spots in Rio. We took a couple of days to do Central, to do the Central City and do that tour, Sugarloaf, Christ Redeemer, all of that. The steps. We spent some time in a suburb out there, Barra de Chuca. I'm probably not saying that right, but got to spend some time on like like a local neighborhood, kind of see what the actual feel of the city was, man. And that was pretty eye opening, especially to see how many black people live in Brazil. That was probably the biggest surprise, and I mean every shade. Goddamn, from John B to goddamn Akon. It was all different type of shades of black people out there, man. Shout out to our homie from Senegal for sitting down and trying to give us the lay of the land on the beaches and stuff. It's bad down there, so
I can imagine.
Pocket. But yeah, man, just a very vibrant culture. Been to some of the best beaches in the world now, I can say that for sure. Copacabana, my goodness. If you're looking for another vacation spot, I would highly suggest Brazil. You learn some Portuguese before you go down there. Learn some Portuguese. You think it's gonna be more people speaking Spanish down there, and that's hit or miss. Even more so hit or miss on the English side. So we was heavy on the Google Translate while I was down there. But
you are going to have to fight my father because
I know, man. I know you already told us. You know what's funny? The day before we left, we went up to the that Dollar Tree on Moores and Mays, and that little section over there by Yogi's Hoagies. Yeah. And your dad and Leighton walked in. Your brother walked in and seen us buying our travel stuff for the trip.
Oh, that's crazy.
As we were, literally the day before we were supposed to leave. Last up, I got here Recast T'Challa trended again this weekend, or no, that was Monday. It was on 4th. It was on the 4th. Yeah. It looks like we got some Black Panther promo art. This is the first time we see the unblurred image of Namor, the one that leaked. About a month ago. Same pictures from Letitia Wright that we've been seeing. A little faux hawk. And then Okoye, of course. But I thought it was extra positive to point out the fact that even in the midst of them trying to promote this movie, even a little bit, the conversation still stuck on T'Challa.
Yeah.
Conversation still stuck on T'Challa. And I will continue to say this. I've been saying it for quite some time now. I do not see the overwhelming support to keep Chadwick Boseman dead. There are a few chosen ass lickers, MT from New Rock Stars, who continue to show deference to Marvel, even in the wake of more family members coming out to confirm that they believe Chadwick wanted the role recast and that they would like to see the role recast. They are staying hard stead in their loyalty to Marvel and to the cast, and they're lost. So if you were waiting on them because you weren't sure how all this was going to play out, we know now everybody has chosen their side. Make sure you stay over there, MT. Stay right there. Okay?
Sure.
Because I feel like with everything that's going on after the Boseman, the Boseman estate, we won't get into it too much, but if you want to look up that situation and see what's going on, I would suggest you do that. But coming out of the wake of that, and then seeing that even now, after going so long without even hearing a peep, nationally at least, about Recast T'Challa, the minute you say anything Black Panther, reactivated it. They're not going to be able to around it. They can't avoid it. They haven't talked about it to this point, so I don't expect them to. But it's going to bite them in the ass at some point. Because again, I do not see the outrage or the outcry to keep to keep T'Challa dead, to kill off T'Challa. I do not see the overwhelming support for any type of funeral scene the way that they probably thought that they were going to get, or a funeral movie. That is a more fringe idea than recasting the character. Now imagine that. So shout out to everybody, man. Everybody. Theo, Be Real, Kaizo, Chillmonger, E-Man, everybody. You know what I'm saying? For staying head fast. For letting them know, man, we're not going anywhere. Even after this movie comes out and bombs, and it will bomb, we're going to be right there saying, I told you so. And be calling for you to recast in Black Panther 3. It was never recast immediately right now. It was make a decision that allows you to mourn now and recast later, or straight up recast, because everyone would understand if you delayed the movie and recast. No one was clamoring for this movie to come out. Nobody was like, hey, I know Chadwick just died, but we need that Black Panther 2 now, ASAP.
Yeah.
No one.
I think it's interesting that every time a bit of info comes out or something that causes it to trend, it seems like every time that happens, the movement gets broader and broader and bigger and larger. And even though the numbers may not come with it to the actual petition, it just seems like the sentiment itself grows every time, which is extremely dope.
It's like when we first started, it felt like engaging in Twitter warfare. It felt like if you put up that RecastTchalla hashtag, you better be ready to reply 3 to 4 or 5 times, because you're going to meet a lot of opposition. And I feel like slowly and surely, I believe we have the number. I believe we do. I don't think that 60,000 is representative of all the people who want to see Tchalla again. Because again, that is just the people who've done enough research, not only A, to sniff out what Marvel's direction is, and B, have the wherewithal to put it together themselves. Right? Have the idea of black representation at the top of their mind. That's the 60,000 who are willing to sign the petition. Everybody else is going to get tuned in as more of the movie comes out. The teaser trailer, the ensuing trailers after that, when the movie actually drops and we get to see what it is they tried to do to honor Chadwick Boseman. They're not going to be able to stop every critic. It's a whole bunch of critics who are already on y'all's butt for giving repetitive content as it is, for having dumbed down comedy dependent type content on your platform now as it is. You're not going to be able to silence all of them. To that end, they're going to have to figure something out. But either way, we're not going away.
Any other thoughts, Dubs, L's?
That is it for me, man. Tell me what you thought about our Dubs and L's. Give us your Dubs and L's, and also like, comment, and subscribe. And come back next Wednesday for another Dubs and L's video. We do one every week, 10 a.m.
And make sure you check out our playlist of Dubs and L's. We missed last week, but other than that, make sure you go back and kind of see what we were talking about before, catch up. And then, like he said, make sure you subscribe, because we like to do this every single Wednesday.